Welcome to the Strong Life Coach podcast, where we speak life, coach life, write life, and lead life. Today, we're joined in the podcast studio by my good friend, Rev. I want to make sure I read out your name properly because I've called you Rev for the last 12 years. William Marian Revel III, baby. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. I feel like every time you and I talk, I'm enlightened. I think you've probably seen me having my notebook for the last 12 years, pulling it out. If you drop something on me, drop some kind of knowledge or insight, I know I always want to have a notebook nearby to take it down. And I get to say that I'm energized by you. I'm enlightened by you. I think you make people around you better. And I'm grateful for your friendship.
Wow, you just gave me a whole bunch of compliments that I don't know if I'm worthy of.
Well, good, man. Again, I'm glad to have you on the show. I want to make sure people tuning in know who you are. So I'm going to go through your profile real quick. If I mess up anything, feel free to jump in and correct me. Completely fine with me. So you were born and raised in Albany, Georgia.
Good stuff.
Went to the University of Tennessee.
Go Vols.
You joined the military. You were in the Army in 2005.
Hoorah.
And then you transitioned from active duty to reserve in 2009, and then effectively out of the military in October 2017.
Correct.
And then, so when it came to your nursing career path, you became a nurse in the Army in 2008. Then you got into home health nursing in 2009. And then from 2011 into 2012, you began working on the management side of home health nursing. And you had some great success in that space where you grew the organization you were a part of into a multi-million-dollar company in 18 months.
Yeah, that sounds pretty big when you say it like that.
And then you went to another company and grew that separate company to a multi-million-dollar company in 8 months.
That was actually pretty big, though.
Big deal. I mean, how many people on the planet can say they grew something to a multi-million-dollar organization? That's a big deal. No small feat.
That's an interesting deal. You know, I never thought about how many people could say it.
Mm-hmm. And then you stayed for another 2.5 years in that organization. And then in 2017, you decided, you know what? I want to start my own home health care company in March of 2017. So then you have your organization. It's called the Superhero Kids Home Health, where you take care of medical fragile children in their home.
So only one part of that. I don't know if I decided. I think the decision was made for me, and I was ignoring it for a while, and to the point to where I finally got put in a situation where I had to either obey or figure something out.
There we go. Well, quite the resume, quite the portfolio. Again, thank you for your presence and your time here. I'm lucky just to know somebody like you. I'm much more lucky, or much more grateful and blessed to have you to be able to showcase your journey with my audience. I'm always grateful for time like this.
Good stuff.
So let's get into the questions. So when did you first see yourself as a leader? All
right. I'm try to give this. So when I was about 5 years old, I went to this revival thing my mom took me to. And this lady who said she was a prophet told me how I was going to be this leader. And how I was going to break the generational curse of my family.
Whoa.
And yeah, you're talking about you're 5. You don't know.
5 years old. Like, she's giving you this vision for your whole lifetime.
I think I'm crying a little bit, because I'm just scared. I don't know what she's talking about. She's talking about curses. I know curses is a bad thing. I'm 5 years old. But that I think was a big part of it. And of course, my dad had this whole thing about we don't follow anybody. You lead. And when I was in first grade, I got in trouble for laughing in school. And he comes and asks me, hey, well, why were you laughing? I was like, well, because everybody else was laughing. Well, he took me downstairs and hooked me up. And told me anytime that I followed someone else and got in trouble, I was going to get that same hookup.
Yeah.
So I learned then to always at least say it was my idea. And eventually it did. It became, eventually I got to a place where I only did things when I chose to. Not because of peer pressure, not because of people. If I chose to do something, I was willing to accept the consequences of that choice.
Yes. And I know one of the models that you live by that you've often referenced to me as far as speaking it into existence. Do you think about that woman that day to a 5-year-old kid?
I know, right?
Spoke this into existence that you would be part of breaking the generational curse with your family. What I didn't think a powerful moment for anybody, but it's a lesson for us is that we don't sometimes think about the words we give to somebody even a child as young as 5 years old can stay with them over 30 plus years. And then to come back and reflect on that is a powerful thing.
It's crazy. We're made up of our past, of our experiences. And our experiences shape us, sometimes even the smallest things. I couldn't tell you what that lady looked like today.
Wow.
I don't remember. I couldn't tell you where I was, if I was in Albany or I was in Arlington. I was somewhere around where I grew up, but I couldn't tell you exactly where I was, but I could tell you what she said. And I can tell you that that's something that stuck with me. And then one of the guys I grew up with who I refer to as a little brother, we wrestled together.
Sure.
And we did martial arts together. And so one day we're playing basketball and we're shooting around, and I'm taking these wild shots and they're going in, and he was like, "Man, you're just destined for greatness." You know, and then I think about that here, you know, now I'm like, wow, you know, everything that I've gone through, the different areas in life that I've been in, I've always been a leader in those areas. And I'm like, wow, you know, it made me think about that comment and the comment from the lady, and it's kind of terrifying a little bit. You know, think about it. It's a little scary.
Well, I mean, I think we're always blessed by people in our lives that have a vision for us, and a positive vision at that, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, how many times do we hear about people being told that they're trash, or they're told that they're stupid, or they're told that they're inferior, or they're not important, or overlooked, or marginalized, and all of this told repetitiously throughout a lifetime. You know, you could, as a person, if you're not careful, you could live up to or live down to somebody's belief in you. But it's been powerful to see you know, live up to that vision, to break that curse. But even with your dad's story too, your dad was instilling in you that you should be taken responsible and not following other people into their foolishness.
His big thing was, well, you know, my dad was raised by our iron hand, and he's raised by iron hand. I'm not saying it was right or good, but it was useful. And I would say that he did the best job with what he had, as far as how to discipline and raise a black man to become a black man. So those aspects of never having regret because you felt like, oh, I trusted in this person and did what they told me to do, and now it's their fault.
Right.
You know, so he never wanted us to have those type of conversations where he's like, well, why did this happen? And then we go, well, it's because someone else told us to do it, or someone else did this.
Right.
And whether he realized it or not, he was getting us teaching me how to not be in the Adam dilemma. And what I mean by when I say the Adam dilemma, when the Most High comes to Adam and say, hey, who told you were naked? You know, what did you do? And he goes, that woman you gave me. He didn't go, go, I sinned before you. Hey, I messed up. That woman you gave me, she did it. And that's why I'm here. Right. And so my dad's like, no, you don't get that excuse.
Yes.
You don't get that excuse.
What I love about it is it stops the blame shifting.
Oh, by far.
And it's somewhat of an innate part of who we are. Is we look around, we're like, is there something that can point to that it's their fault? It started with them, but he was ingraining that principle in you that no, in this family, we're not going to blame anybody else. You're going to take full responsibility for your actions, period. Whether you started it, somebody else did, you're going to take responsibility for
what you did. And I do the same thing to my children. So when they get in trouble, when we talk about it, I don't deal with the other people. That's right. Because I'm like, I'm not their dad. That's right. It's not my job to keep them safe. It's not my job to raise them. It's my job to teach you. So we're going to talk about what you did and why you did the things that you did and go from there. Yes. Now, not with the iron fist, not so much with that though.
Right. A lot more love and tenderness.
a lot more love. Well, more creative. You know, the one thing about getting beat is you learn how not to get beat. Doesn't necessarily mean you learn to be better. You just learn how not to get beat. Sure. And so I'm more, I guess, interactive with my children. I tell them they're either going to be disciplined or strong. So they do push-ups and have to sit on the wall, or they have to hold things out like soup cans. And soup can gets real heavy after about 10 minutes.
Soup cans. They have to hold them out, like their arms stretched out?
Arms stretched out like this right here. And then, like when they're fighting with each other, they have to hold them and look at each other.
Oh, okay.
and then I let them sit there for a minute till they start to shake a little bit. And then I was like, now let's have this conversation that got you here. And then not talk to me, talk to the person in front of you, and then let them work it out.
Wow,
and
look at that.
You don't want to fight anymore after that. You don't want to fight. You want to hug. you want to be held.
I love it. I love the creativity. We'll probably have to bring you on for a parenting podcast in itself, and we'll talk about some of those insights. I think that's good. That's good. You're either going to be disciplined or you're going to get strong. So they have exercise and things like that you incorporate into your.
It prepares them. Because here's the thing: if you're not disciplined at home, you're not going to be disciplined in school. Which means you're not going to pay attention and get the education you need in order to be in a job that's going to provide you with the stability for you not to have to sweat. Which means you're going to need your strength in order to work a labor job in order to take care of yourself. So if you're not going to be disciplined in order to learn the things that you need to do and not get caught up in it, then at least can prepare you to be strong enough to be a laborer so that you can still live.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep waters. I like that. It's very intentional. It's purposeful. It's strategic. I like it. Let's transition to talk about your Superhero Kids home health business.
Superhero Kids.
What is the most rewarding part of for you with owning this business?
Oh, wow. See, that's actually a multiple layered question.
Sure.
So on the top end, there's nothing like the one-on-one care of caring for someone and what you learn from serving them. And that's something that you lose when I went into management. I stopped being the one-on-one nurse to managing the nurses doing the one-on-one care. So a big aspect of what I get from is I'm able to touch so many more lives through this particular job versus being the nurse in the field.
Right.
And then two, I get to provide jobs. I get to help people take care of their children, help people take care of their business, help people to find some shalom, find some peace.
I love it. And I like how you tied in. There is the hands-on part. That's like frontline. We're in the battle. You're experiencing what the frontline nurse does, but then being able to have this other's leadership role, or in the leadership role, you're providing the opportunity for nurses to be in that position, to have that connection with the clients that you're serving.
Well, the aspect of I'm a nurse, and so I was a nurse in the field, and actually the little girl that I took care of is my daughter now. But what you learn, what you get from, and it's something that can't really be put into words. You have to actually do it for it to make sense. What you get when you serve others, there's something more than the money, the shekels aspect. You do need that. You need that because you work so you can serve, so you can take care of your family.
Sure.
But there's a deeper insight that comes from serving. And whether it's nursing or just people, there's a deeper aspect of what you get. And what you get is way more than what you ever will give. And so, you kind of lose that a little bit when you go from the hands-on to the management side.
Right.
But the upside of that is, instead of me just touching one kid,
that's right,
I'm touching 70 kids.
Yes.
Or I'm touching 100 kids. So I'm still able to do that, but I'm able to do it bigger. So it works.
Right. And I think that's the gift of leadership, right? The gift of leadership and using that gift to influence more people is, you're not just influencing one or however many clients you could serve that day. You're not limited to what you can physically do, but now your influence is spread among all these people that work for you, that are serving and helping and providing this care that is appreciated. And it's, again, people pay a great premium to have their family members, their children, to be provided with the care that you all provide. Let me ask you about your leadership journey. Who was the biggest influence in your leadership journey?
The biggest influence would have to be John Reynolds.
John Reynolds.
John Reynolds was my high school football coach.
Okay.
So John Reynolds, he passed away my senior year, right before my first game.
Sorry to hear that.
This is a guy who said, you're not going to be lost to the streets. You're not going to be lost to the gangs. You're going to play football. You're going to play football. You're going to be successful. And he was there early in the morning. He'd be the first guy at the school every day.
Every
and
day.
the last one to leave.
Wow.
He would get to the school at 4:30, 5 o'clock and open up the weight room. So you can go in the weight room, you lift weights, and then of course we have practice after school. Even during the off season, we still work out. So the weight room, he's in the weight room till 7, 8 o'clock every day.
Wow.
And so I learned so much from that guy. I mean, because he just wouldn't let me give in to the streets. He wouldn't let me give in to my carnal nature.
Mm-hmm.
And he just seemed like he knew everything.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I tried to go too far left, he was just right there standing in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he died from cancer. And so
Wow.
when the summer of my junior year, he was in the hospital, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I learned so much more about his bigger picture for me,
Mm-hmm.
or his bigger picture, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just teaching boys how to be men.
Yes.
You know, I did have my father, him and my mom, they divorced when I was 10, but he was still around. He was, I still saw him, we still, he was still in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But so many football players, so many boys that I grew up with, because the area I grew in is mostly black.
Mm-hmm.
And my graduating class may have been 10 whites, maybe 15 Hispanics out of 400.
Wow.
It was majority black, poor community.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was teaching us how to overcome adversity, and how to not allow our starting point to dictate our ending point.
Mm-hmm.
And his big thing, he made me promise I would go to college.
Wow.
And then he died, so I had to do it.
Let's go. Let's go. But I like the quote you even use as to not let your starting point dictate your ending point. Because we have these moments in life where they're challenging, they're heartbreaking, or we make big mistakes and we have this shame and regret, and it can be paralyzing to have this kind of experience early on in our life, and then to not allow that to dictate where I'm going to go from here. We could always improve, we could always grow, and to develop into something better, something more. We don't have to stay stuck, I think is that vision. But I think it reminds me of the power of him being in your life. And I think about people who are listening in and the influence they can provide, just helping somebody to not go the wrong way, stay focused.
Just by loving them.
Just by loving them. Just
that's
serving them, being available.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He loved us, man. And that's one thing he never doubted. I remember one game we were playing, and I was a blitzer. I became an All-American from blitzing. Nice. And I wasn't getting through. For whatever reason, I would hit the hole. I can't tell you. I come to the sideline, and he had this funny way of talking. He, Revill. He's like, Revill, you better get in there. And I want you to hit him. And he said, hit him. He went, hit him. Twice to the gut. And it hurt. I didn't drop. I went in there and got a sack. Next play, boom. But he was somebody. He loved you so much, you believed in him. You believed that he could walk on water almost. Like this, we called him Rimbardi. So, because it's like, remember the great Limbardi? We call him Rimbardi. Like, that's Rimbardi right there. Rimbardi knows. That was kind of our thing.
Sure.
But you believed in him and you knew he loved you.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all said and done, if he went off on you, if he cussed you out, if he dropped you, you knew that man loved you, and that the purpose of it was to make you better.
Yes.
And you believed in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it did.
You gotta love that. Gotta love that. Now let's talk about the opposite end. What major lesson have you learned from a poor leader in your life?
Oh, okay. So is it all right if I name names? Or is that a bad thing? I don't know.
In general, we try not to drag anybody's name through the mud.
I'm not going to talk terrible about her, but maybe not name.
We can leave the name out. We'll edit it out, even if you did say it.
the owner of the first company that I grew,
okay,
the one I grew in 18 months, the reason why I ended up going somewhere else, because she was crazy. She was crazy. I mean, grew a company that took care of me. She went from having to be at work every day to taking 2-week vacations whenever she wanted, just because it was taken care of. But we had some very different ideas when it came to leading. For instance, I didn't think it was a good idea to a lot of people.
Sure.
Ever.
Period.
That was like, there's no reason for it. You tell the truth. It might not be pretty, but it's at least the truth.
That's right.
A lie that's pretty, once it's shown to be a lie, makes the truth that much uglier. So, but she didn't agree with that concept. She didn't agree with a lot of concepts as far as keeping your conscience clear. As a result of that, I couldn't no longer work with her. And she shared, she was part owner. The other owner is the reason why I came there, which is the reason why I stayed as long as I did. But it got to a place where it was even taxing on him.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, he eventually left the company too, his own company. He eventually just said, "Look, I just want out." And he started another business on his own. That's how terrible it was. You're talking about, wow, I think about that time period, and I think about all the things that I went through with her and with the situations, and even my family. My family carried a burden of her. And I remember walking away from it, and when I got to a place where I could forgive her, and when I got to a place of what am I thankful for her? Because you got to, at the end of the day, if you saying you forgave somebody and you can't talk about them without being angry or being emotional or being hurt, man, that's some stuff you ain't let go yet. So what I started to do was, when I say I forgive somebody, I started to pray and talk to the Most High about the things that I'm grateful for them for.
Okay.
For me, kind of my own parameter of, hey, where are you? Are you good yet? Are you okay with this person? Because the Bible says we don't forgive, we won't be forgiven. And I'm like, that's not something I want.
Right.
So, but I was thankful for the lessons she taught me about how important it is to be vulnerable because she wasn't.
Wow.
How important it is to be trusting because she wasn't. How you have to put faith in the people who you're leading. You can't micromanage them.
Right.
So all these different things that she did in a very real way to try to oppress me. I was grateful for those lessons so that I don't do that on someone else.
Oh yes. Like,
I never want one of my employees to feel the way I felt around her.
That's right.
Like ever. Like that, that would literally break my heart. Like that would like So I learned a lot from it.
And I think you captured this point where there are people in our lives that are examples for us that we could imitate, learn from, put their principles into practice just by watching them and just do as they do. And there's people in our lives that are like the cautionary tales, like, hey, do not be like them, because if you do what they do, you're going to get what they get, which is what I'm hearing from you is the experience that she provided to people at the organization is not the experience you want to provide to the people at your organization now. And it gave you, if this is a blueprint, I don't know if the opposite is red, that she gave you a red print of what you don't want to follow, right?
Well, it's kind of like certain names go down in history that become a byword. Like if you say your name is Mud, do you know where that came from? See, Mud was one of the guys that orchestrated the death of Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
And his name has forever been a byword, Mud. Or everybody knows Boone, Booth. So he's the guy that pulled the trigger. So the name became a byword of bad. And there's a lot of Booths out here today. They're sure that they don't want to be known for that. Or if your last name is Mud and literally M-U-D-D, and you go, that was my great grandfather, and you don't want to be judged for that. So in a very real way, when I see her actions, and I think like, man, I see her being a byword. Like when I think about the worst ways to treat an employee, her face comes into mind like, wow, like I don't want to be that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I think you have this other deep point when it came to her character. And you said this idea that for you, an ugly truth is better than a pretty lie.
Yes, by far.
And you think about that one principle, right? Because we, in our nature, we want to be presented well. When I've asked myself, like, when I'm tempted to lie or deceive or spin or anything like that to make the truth anything other than what it is, then I'm like, what's going on there? But that conviction, if I can have the conviction, if we can have the conviction in general, where we believe that, we embrace that an ugly truth is better than a pretty lie. Like, then if we hold on to that, I think this is a great character principle.
I just want to go on record and say, I wish I could say I'm perfect in it, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I fall victim to it too at times where you want to give something in a certain light, or you pretty up, whether it's intentional or not,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But one of the things that I've come to learn is history, when it's given in truth, it just isn't pretty. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a natural disaster is a disaster. It just is. There's nobody to blame. No person to take blame. It's just a disaster,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to deal with the results of it.
Sure.
So, in the truth, in some ways, can be like that. It also can be extremely beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
extremely beautiful. But the truth doesn't denote a characteristic in as far as beauty or ugly. It just is.
Mm-hmm. Gotta take that one down too. I always tell people that are on the podcast for the first time, what I do with these is, send them to the producer. He gets a chance to chop them up. But once he gets it back to me, I listen to every sentence, every phrase, every story, and I just file those on the way. I've been filing since you've known me in that little book. But now, with the technology nowadays, I have a sophisticated, program.
I'm look at your memoir. Just see some of your notes. I bet it's gonna be pretty amazing.
It's nice and organized on in my online applications. I get it from my phone or my tablet or my laptop.
That's awesome.
Let me ask you about challenges. What is a major challenge you have overcome in your leadership journey?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna start with the end result, and then I'm gonna quickly as quickly as I can take you to the challenge. The biggest challenge ended up being overcoming filing bankruptcy.
Okay,
that became the biggest challenge,
mm-hmm.
not the only challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I would say that in the 2 years that I've owned the company, that
Mm-hmm.
this has been my company, and I built it from zero. There was no patience in it when I bought the company.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through almost every aspect that can close a company down.
Oh wow!
And I've experienced almost everything that in my field and in what we do that can bring a company completely down.
Mm-hmm.
And we survived it, which is awesome.
Hey, come on! Sometimes survival is the victory. It's
and now we're actually on the upside of it,
Mm-hmm.
But pushing toward there, I had a partner when I first started, and he got cancer, which was pretty bad. But it was okay though, because I told him day one, hey, when he told me this is what's up, it's like, bro, we're gonna fight, we're gonna win.
Come on,
we're gonna fight, we're gonna win. It's
Mm-hmm.
done. I already got this. I said it's sold up.
Mm-hmm.
So we go through, and as he was getting better, I guess at some point he decided that it'd be better if we weren't partners.
Oof.
Which that in itself wouldn't have been a problem, but the way he decided to do it, he wanted to ensure that he could do well for his family,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't care about how he went about doing that. So he colluded with a company that was doing my insurance and my accounting and my back office, and they were trying to manipulate other employees to basically come with them as they bought another company,
Mm-hmm.
and he was going to move all the business that we created in this company, just move it somewhere else.
Wow.
So
this is all happening behind the scenes. You didn't know.
No, I didn't have a clue.
And you colluding with other companies, not just yours, not just your people,
just other people
outside the organization
that was working within. They had their hands in my company too. So
Mm-hmm.
so now they were overcharging me, and then they were not doing the work, and then they were stealing from me too.
Oh my goodness!
So everything kind of came to a head right as he got fully cleared of cancer. I found out everything.
Wow!
And then I found it out in the way where I heard it from his lips,
mm-hmm.
from one of the people that he was trying to get to turn.
Mm-hmm.
Called him with me on three-way.
Uh-oh.
Heard that. I actually recorded and heard and listened to it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I went to confront him about it the next day at the office, and he wouldn't even come into the office. I was like, I told him, I said, man, look, you stabbed me in the back. At least you can look me in the eyes.
Wow.
I said, look, if you want to be gone, that's fine. You can come and at least tell me, explain why you want to destroy my company.
Wow.
And of course, he was like, no, I'm not talking with you, this, that, and other. And I was like, oh, there's no problem. Just get off my property. You know, and a couple months later, well, I'll get to that. Next month, so that's September. This September of we're 19, right? So 18. So
this is all fresh.
Yeah, it's only 2 years. It was only 2 years. A lot has happened in 2 years.
Right.
I'm just going to catch you up from September to current. That's all I'm doing. So then my administrator and my alternate administrator, they decided, well, we don't have to do what you say. Yeah, we don't have to do what you say.
And you're the only one in charge. And they're saying we don't have to do what you say.
And I'm the one that paid him, though. But I didn't disagree with them. I told them, I said, you know what? You're right. You don't have to do what I say. And they all kind of like, oh, wow, he took that kind of easy. I said, you're right. And I don't have to pay you. Matter of fact, you're going to get 2 more checks from me, and that's going to be about it. And so I had to do a full restructure. So the company that colluded with my ex-partner had stole about $130,000 from me in the time,
goodness.
Which led to me having to get a loan. And the loan company, I ended up getting loan I got was a predatory company.
Oh no!
And they ended up going out to my insurance companies, which caused a freeze on all my accounts.
Oh man!
And that's what led to the bankruptcy. So that's how I got to the hardest aspect.
Wow. Okay, but there was a lot that went into it.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
It
perfect storm.
You're right. So it was the partner, his betrayal, and like this intricate strategic plan he went to. One, to collude with other companies, which was over $100,000. I mean, somebody who loses $100,000, that's not easy in and of itself. But then ever, period, right? But then you have him gone, which again, that's kind of a victory. But then you have almost the remnants of that poisonous attitude.
Yes, and so basically I had to go kind of do a cleansing. So having to cleanse people out and just let people go. And he even had 2 of his relatives that were working for me.
Wow.
And my whole thing is I didn't want to fire them because I didn't want his sins to fall on them.
Sure. And
that was the right thing to do. And given the same situation, I would still do the same thing. But that they turned out to be on his side too and created some other issues. Before they exited out. But he did apologize.
He did?
Yes.
Okay.
The first week of March of this year, he sent me a text stating that his cancer came back with a vengeance, and that he apologized for the situation and that the things he did. And yeah, he was like, he said that he was wrong and he's good. And I offered to walk with him to the end, and he said, I appreciate that. I think it shocked him that what do
you mean you offered to walk with him to the end? What do you mean by that?
Because he said it came back. The doctor gave him a month to live.
So you offered to be there with him?
Yes.
And to go through it with him?
I walked with him through the first one.
Wow.
To me, it's the right thing to do.
That's powerful, right? That give me some chills right there. So this is a guy who was potentially destroying your business, destroying your family, destroying your livelihood, poisoning people against you, taking money from you, and your response is not, when he's down, let me step on his throat.
He was never my enemy.
Never your enemy.
His actions were wrong, and his actions were his own, and there was a price for his actions. But he was never my enemy.
But you showing that love. You had the character to show love, even when playing fields, as far as the balance goes, his wrongs were quite heavy. But but you having the character to go, you know what? I'm called to love, and I'm gonna love. And so you said he responded. He was shocked by that.
Yeah, he was shocked. He was like, let me get back to you on that. And he didn't get the opportunity. The following Saturday, he died. So he died literally a week later. Not even a week. That was like a Monday, and of course that Saturday he passed away.
Whoa.
So it was scary, but you're like, whoa, like, you know, I know who I'm serving. Like, you know, you read some stuff in the scriptures, how you know, it says how it's better to, you know, to wrap a milestone around your neck and throw yourself in the water than to cause one of the little ones to sin. And you're like, because you're like, whoa, now you see like the Most High move. This dude was cancer free, 0 out, nothing left, nothing. His test came back 100% clean.
Wow.
And this is in September. In March, he's dying.
After the betrayal, after everything's coming out.
Wow. And dies. And I'm like, whoa, you know, like, whoa.
So, I mean, I appreciate you not calling him your enemy, but in 2018, the person closest to being your enemy would have been him. As far as like, maybe through any other lens, right? Let's say somebody normal, maybe somebody like me, I would say that's an enemy. I mean, but I know I appreciate your heart about it. You're like, you know, I'm not even going to resort to calling him that. But
he was a desperate person who chose to ignore what he knew. And let me explain what I mean by that. He deemed himself to be a believer, to walk in the light. And in the course of us going through the cancer the first time, the one thing that I kept telling him was that, hey, the way for us to fight is spiritual, not physical. And that he's going to be all right, but it's a spiritual war. And I said, the Most High is trying to get your attention. He's trying to get you to see you and see him.
Right.
And I said, so the only thing you need to do right now is focus on him. And for him, that was too hard because to focus on him and say, well, he's going to figure this, he's going to work this out. The Most High is going to take care of me. He said, no, I need to figure out how to take care of me. And the conclusion that he came through desperation is, well, this seems to be low hanging fruit here. I can take this and I can take care of my family with this and I can secure myself with this versus finding security in the Most High.
Wow. Security in the Most High. So when I said major challenge, I think you answered that question well. That's a major challenge. Bankruptcy, betrayal, the remnants of the poison afterward. But I think I think you're here. And then,
yes, good. Look, my dad is like, people kill themselves for less. and here's the thing, man. I've been blown up. I've been shot at. I've gone through. I've been in war situations, and this is the scariest I've ever been in my life. You know, I at the time, and it didn't come without peril. I lost about 40% of my company between April 12th and June 3rd. You know, it was a very challenging time. Going through the bankruptcy. I talked to over 300 employees one-on-one in like a 48-hour period.
Wow.
And just trying to reassure them, letting them know what was going on, doing everything I can to be open and vulnerable, and even talking to my parents. Now, to say that's over 60% stayed, which is I'm not worthy even that. The others that left, I wasn't mad at them. I got it. You know, if as an employee, if I can't count on my money being where it's supposed to be on time, I probably want to look for some other options too. So I wasn't angry with them for that, but it was, you know, I had over at the time over 400 employees, and they had responsibilities. Their children needed food. Their light bill has to be paid. So if I'm not supplying them for what they work for, what they've earned, you know, I'm failing them as an employer. And man, I hate failure. And I find that failure is an enemy. Satan is the ultimate enemy, but failure is my enemy. Success is my friend.
Yes.
And how you get to success, well, that's another part of the conversation.
Love it. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I know I think whenever somebody, period, shares a story with me that's fragile and personal, and that's like there's vulnerability laced throughout the story, it's always powerful to me. But then that you would entrust that to people that are tuning in, because people go through challenges, and I think whenever they hear a vivid example of what somebody else went through, it can give them hope and even principles to use that you use to get through it, right?
Well, it's funny you say it like that, because who do you go to when you got $1 million problems?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a serious. It's crazy.
That's a question. It's a good question.
So I'm going through all this stuff, and I thought about my fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about all the brothers I know, all the people who I know love me, but no one that I come to mind that this is a person I can say, I got a $2.3 million problem. Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, who do you call?
Right.
You know, I know I might have 1 or 2 rich friends who have that type of money in the bank. Not that money to borrow. right. Not to go, hey man, you can hold this, man. You know, you catch up with me on the next week. So who do you call?
Right.
You know, and it was one of the situations. The situation itself, everything culminated around me doing exactly what I was telling my partner to do.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Which
full circle.
The test was to look up.
Mm-hmm.
And to focus.
Yes.
Because it wasn't about my skills or my power to fix it. Mm-hmm. It was about his. Mm-hmm. And mine was about being obedient to him, to allow him to be able to do those things.
Yes.
And that whole word allowing the creator to do something, but that actually is right. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have faith in his power, then his power doesn't work in you.
There we go. Yes.
So allow him to.
Allowing. I like it. I'm with it. Looking up. Now, let me ask you a similar question, a little different. What's a unique challenge that you've overcome in your leadership journey? So you have the major challenge. What's a unique challenge? Which your major one was unique, to be clear. But I'll put this question out anyway.
So a unique challenge has been learning to not carry things that I'm not supposed to.
Oof. Okay.
So I'm a carrier, man. I'm a carrier. I'm a guy that puts things on my shoulders, and I take one step at a time, and I just keep and I carry. Mm-hmm. And I had this friend, this brother, who I regard to as a big brother. His name is Arlen. Mm-hmm. So Arlen used to tell me, he's like, man, you're this great brother, but your arms will never be wide enough, your shoulders will never be strong enough to carry the weight of the world. Oof. And he used to tell me this all the time. It was kind of frustrating, a little irritating. Mm. But I started to get it in levels of it's not my job. It's not my job, not my role. It's not the role that I was put in to make someone drink water they need. Mm-hmm. It's my job to show them that this water is there.
Yes.
It's my job to lead them to the water if they want to come. Mm-hmm. But it's not my job to make them get it. Right. See, the big thing before, I felt like I'm a persuasive enough person.
Yes.
I can present an argument that's so detailed, that's so intricate, that you will see the way I see it. And through seeing what I see, you're going to want exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. And that works. It does work. Mm-hmm. However, sometimes, in many cases, in every case, it's really hard to help someone unless they want it.
Yes.
They have to want it. Mm-hmm. So what I learned to do is still be the servant, still be the person who has his hands open, still be the person that says, hey, I want to meet with you. You set the time, you set the date, and I'll be there. Mm-hmm. You know, you call me and you go, hey, are you busy? I'm like, yeah, but I answer the phone, so let's talk. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yes.
But it put me in a place where I help people who want help, mm-hmm. and not try to help somebody to see they need it. Mm-hmm. Another thing that this has taught me, and I guess the uniqueness of it is it's impossible to teach somebody how to be free if they don't realize they're in chains.
Oof.
So
give me some good quotes here.
So because of that, when I realized, okay, you don't want help, that's okay. Mm-hmm. And you know, for instance, there was just one person I was talking to, and I was sharing my faith with them. Mm-hmm. And as I was sharing it with them, they said, look, that's way too deep. I just want to be ignorant.
Oh.
And this is a person who's really, really close to my heart. So it hurt when he said it, but it's all right. He said it. He's a grown man. Mm-hmm. If the Most High gave him the freedom mm-hmm. to make the statement,
yes,
then who am I to try to make him? He's like, oh man, no, you need to get this. No, I said, you know what? All right, cool. And we changed the subject, went on about it because it wasn't mine to carry.
Sure.
So that would be the unique thing that I learned. I learned not to carry stuff that's not mine.
I think it's a great principle for any leader. It's a great principle for anybody who's persuasive. I feel like I think I also have the gift of persuasion, but understanding sometimes you could provide the most persuasive arguments. And I think there's this quote, I think it's by Dale Carnegie, but he says, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And it's like, you convinced them, but then a week later, they're back doing the same thing.
They never change.
But I gave you the best argument. I used all the quotes or scriptures, and I used the analysis. I gave you the stats, and I gave you the stories, and I used the emotions, and I did everything that there was to do. And I think there could be such a frustration, annoyance, irritation that happens when we don't see people doing what we want to make them do, right?
Like, I want to save your life. Why don't you save your life? I had a situation where I went home and I was sharing my faith with my family, and I'm using all of these amazing arguments, man. I'm using Hebrew, I'm using Greek, I'm using pictures. I mean, I covered every avenue of convincing that you could cover. Nothing worked. Then the next day I'm having a conversation with someone who's not biblically knowledgeable, doesn't have what you would say as strong of an education in the field. And he was saying, I don't get why Jesus has the authority he has. I'm good with following Yahuwah, God, whoever, the big guy. I'm good with him. I don't get why I got to follow Jesus. And I go, and he go, hey, can you explain to me what is he? How come he has authority? And instead of giving him all these amazing, I may consider amazing pictures to get, I go, what quarrel does an ant have with a boot? And he goes, huh? I said, what quarrel does an ant have with the boot? And he was like, well, nothing. The hope is he don't get killed by the boot. I said, so why is it that you're questioning the creator, the one who made you, the boot? You're the ant. And I said, here's the thing. You want to know why? He said, all power on heaven and earth has been given to me. So the one that you're saying, who gave him authority? Yeah, it was given to him by the Father. So really, your issue ain't with it ain't with the Son. Your issue's with the Father, hence the boot. And he goes, man, that makes so much sense now. Let's move on. And I'm thinking, why can it be this easy all the time? But what I realized, it's not about me. It's not about the argument.
Right.
It's about the person and the spirit.
Yes.
And so, again, which leads to don't carry something that ain't yours.
That's right. It's a great principle all the way around. I mean, you see it in marriages, because we think, or people can think at times, that I can control the other person, or I can make them, or I can force them, or I can get them. But something we talk about in coaching is that knowing exactly where my responsibility ends and exactly where your responsibility begins. And I need to know that as a speaker, as a communicator, as a person, as a married person, where I know where my responsibility ends and where my wife's begins. And if I get that down, there's so much less frustration.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much less irritation. There's so much less disappointment, which is a big root issue in conflict overall. But I know where my responsibility ends. I know the best that I can do. I know where that is. But I also know where somebody else's responsibility has to begin.
Outstanding.
Now, how have you continued to grow in your leadership journey?
So that might be the simplest question that you asked me today.
Okay.
Because the simplest is, I use the Bible to teach business. And so how I grow in my leadership now is simply through obeying what I see in the scriptures. Through obedience, I gain understanding.
Yes. I love that. Because, and we know this intrinsically, Let's take working out. Like, I can memorize all the diets in the world. I can memorize all the types of workouts, the group workouts, the cycling, the weightlifting, the cardio, the body weight.
Best plan ever.
You could memorize all of them. You could have all of them in your brain ready to go. But knowing them is useless unless it's put into practice. And I feel like obey is almost a dirty word now.
It is. No, it's a terrible word to most people because it's followed with the 25th letter of the alphabet. Why? But why should I do that? My kids used to have it. It's like, well, Daddy, why do we have to do it? And I encourage communication.
Right.
So my answer will be, well, right now, this moment, you're doing it because I said it, and that's the only thing that you need. Now, once you've done it, now we'll come back and I'll explain it after you've obeyed. But you need to obey first, because some things, until you obey it, you're not going to get it.
Yes.
And quick reference with that is marriage. Ephesians 5:21 through the end of the chapter is a great marriage tool. And if you follow it to the letter, your marriage will be wonderful. But this whole aspect of telling a woman that she has to submit to a man and he's her covering. Whoa, brother. Not in this age.
Right.
Hey, look, it's equal rights here. She don't submit to nobody. but that's kind of the response. In the same time, the thing of love your wife as yourself, present her as radiant, beautiful, without blemish. Hold up, she got issues. How am I going to present her without issues? And she got issues. So if you're not practicing it, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's one of the most foreign things out there. It's Greek.
It's real.
It's Greek to someone who doesn't speak Greek. Yeah. So, but when you're doing it though, and when you're doing it, and even when it's one-sided, even only if you're treating let's say, I know your wife's perfect. She's one amazing woman. I love her. So I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
But let's say you're serving your wife, you're loving your wife, you're treating her as Yahusha treated the church, and you're making her radiant. Everybody can see it, but she don't listen to you. She tell you what to do all the time, and you're constantly trying. Now, on one side of the table, you're getting the benefit of obedience, and you're seeing her in the way that the Most High wanted you to see her.
Yes.
She won't get it until she's obeys.
That's right.
It won't even begin to make sense. I remember this one married couple, and I told the wife that she needed to submit to her husband, and she was like, "That ain't gonna happen." And my wife told her, she was like, "Listen, it sounds rough, and I didn't want to do it either." She said, "But once you start obeying, you see the fruit of obedience, and it's only done through obedience that it makes sense."
Yes. I love that. And I feel like there's countless principles we could go back to when the way that we're called to think, true, noble, right, pure, lovely, the way we're called to speak, to build up, not to tear down, to build, to benefit, not to be a detriment, right? To speak true or lies. But you only actually know the power. You're only in tune with it in the actually speaking the truth, actually building up, actually thinking about what's true, noble, right, and pure. But to just theoretically try to grab it, again, try to theoretically grab it and understand it. Nothing wrong with trying to understand, like you said. But we could spend a lifetime try to understand why this, why that. But what are you doing to put it into practice? It's like you just said in the beginning.
To me, I'm a very simple person, and people think I'm deep, and I'm really not. I'm really simple. It just comes off as deep concepts. So, for instance, your mic. We spent a couple minutes before you're telling me how to sit in front of the mic and how to talk into the mic.
Sure.
Now, imagine this for a minute. Just imagine your microphone is Yahuwah or Yahusha. I'm saying God or Jesus. So imagine your microphone is Yahuwah or Yahusha. Now, if I come over here and talk, you're still getting some feeding, but it's not as much. There's going to be some sound issues.
Right.
It's the same thing. If I come over here, there's going to be some things that you're going to be able to hear some things. You're going to get some stuff from here, but you're not going to get the full power of the microphone because I'm not in line with it. Now, when I come here and I start talking to you here, I'm in line with this microphone.
That's right.
It amplifies my voice.
That's right.
It gives me power. The whole aspect of speaking in the name, in the authority, the reputation, and character. See, when you're in line, you're amplified.
Yes.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
I'm
with it. I'm with it. So let's bring it in for a landing here. You gave some incredible content thus far, but I want to make sure we talk about your family.
All right.
And I want to hear, I know we could probably talk for another couple of hours about your family, but if you had to pick your favorite quality about each one of them, about Kara, Isabel, Will, and Abigail, what's your favorite quality about each one of them?
All right. Then I'm going to start from the one that's been around the least amount and then get to the one that's been around the greatest.
Okay.
All right. So there's Abigail, which is my baby. I call her Wiggles. Wiggles, the most amazing character about her, she knows something that you can't teach. She understands investment love.
Investment love.
Investment love. Let me tell you about this. Is the coldest game ever. So what she does every day without fail, she comes and tells you how much she loves you and how much she appreciates you just because it's today. For no reason other than it's today. Like for instance, last night, I'm tired. I'm in the room. I've been on the road all day. I come home. I even lose my glasses in my bedroom. That's how tired I was. And she's just like, hey, can I come in? I just want to come talk to daddy. And she comes in and is like, daddy, I just want to let you know I love you. And she gets on the bed and hugs me and just lays there for a minute. Doesn't want anything. And she's like, okay, that's it. And she walks out. It makes it really hard to punish somebody who disciplines someone who does that.
Right.
Because you're like, because when she messes up, you're like, oh, but she loves me so much. Like she does try so hard. And it's a really amazing character about her. So that's Abby. Investment love. Will he's my son. He is, I guess, the thing that gets me, he's a protector. My name, our name, even talking about it makes me, a little bit emotional. My name William means guardian. A protector, and my middle name Marian means chosen. So he's a guardian. He's someone who stands up for people and protects them. There was a situation at his school where this kid was being picked on by another kid, and he gets up and stands between the two and say, "Okay, you push me now. You don't push him anymore."
Wow.
So for me, I'm like, "Whoa, my son."
Yes.
So that's something that really
protector. Guardian.
When he has a conviction on something, he'll stand on
it. I love that.
So then there's Isabel. She's a shepherd. So and when it's all said and done, she wants to make sure everyone's taken care of. She wants to. In Hebrew, the word is shamar. She guards. She guards her siblings. And so now she's a bit bossy, kind of a trait of being the oldest. but the heart is always to protect. It's always to guard. Yes. So they both have a guard. Now where Will's more of a physical guard, I will literally get between you and the problem, where she's kind of a let me herd everyone over here to where it's safe. And so the three of them, their love for each other is just wow. Yes. They all have their own beds and they'll sleep on the floor just so they can sleep next to each other.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So you have the investment love, the guardian protector, and then you have the shepherd.
Guardian shepherd.
Yes. I love it.
And so Kara is, honestly, her craziness is something that I love. And so let me explain what I mean by that. It's my wife is from Haiti. She's Haitian. She's beautiful and she's crazy Haitian. And it's awesome. And what I mean is she's for you. There's nothing that won't stop her from protecting you. Her loyalty is almost dangerous. But man, she'll be there. She's just there. She's with you. And every aspect, every step, I've been married now 13 years, man. It's crazy.
I love that.
I've been a imitator of Yahusha, imitator of the Messiah for 18 years, half my lifetime.
Yes.
and I've been married 13 of those 18 years. And the Most High is able to use me because of what he's given me in her. She definitely is my shalom. she makes me whole.
Yes. So. I love it. I love hearing about your family. I love hearing what you admire about them. It's one of my favorite parts of the show, just getting a chance to ask that question that you showcase or you share what you admire, what you love about them. But great. We've had some great time discussing leadership, discussing your journey, showcasing it. I'm grateful for your time. If you're tuning in, again, I'm here with William Marian Revel III, and we're talking about his leadership journey. And to tell me actually I have it right here. It is the Superhero Kids Home Health business owner is in the house today. Of course, we're on the Strong Life Coach podcast where we speak life, coach life, write life, and lead life. If you're tuning in, be sure to like it, rate it well, comments, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.